Hi there, my name is Jeremiah. For as long as I can remember, I've had an almost morbid fascination with anything and everything paranormal, especially those things that venture into the darkest recesses of our primal fears and spark the thoughts that for most would be the stuff of nightmares. In 2007, this fascination, along with some unexplainable experiences, led me to start a paranormal research team known today as Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Then in 2011, a road trip led myself and a close friend into the darkest places we had ever been. That was the beginning of Road Trip Paranormal. Now, while still active with them, I no longer lead either of those teams, but the people that make them up are the best friends a guy like me could ask for. Myself, along with Jason, Leo, Roth, Max, and Michelle are reaching out to share our passions for everything odd, fringe, and paranormal with the world. We are Cryptic Heartland.
Like what?
And welcome back. How is everyone tonight?
Yes, sir. Good.
Leo's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm here. That's all I'm committing to.
Listen to music.
Who was jacking with the camera angles?
Nobody touched anything.
Although, I mean, it's not too bad because we can only see half of Roth's face, so it's.
Is that the better half or the worse half? Or it's the same?
There, that's better.
Man, I think you guys need to go back.
So, anyway, welcome to the Cryptic Heartland podcast, where everything is fair game, nothing's off the table, and we're not afraid to poke the bear.
And
Already,
if you miss an investigation. it's
already
okay,
going
slam
tonight.
it.
Not only one.
Yeah.
2 in a row, buddy.
5.
5. Yeah.
I told you this year was going to be tough.
I know. Oh man, I'm tired. I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys.
Yep. Exhausted.
Asshole.
Just a little child over there in the corner.
That's right.
All right.
All right, let's get the show off the road.
Started right. All right, this is episode number 53. Once again, of the Cryptic Heartland podcast, the show that brings you everything, like Jeremiah said. Don't be afraid to call in 316-200-9066. But before we begin, as always, make sure you answer your phone.
Are you freaking kidding
Put
me?
it on silent. Oh, wait a minute. I ain't our first caller.
I've been getting phone calls all day asking if we were still doing the show. That's probably who they are.
I'll call her back in a minute.
Make sure you like our page, subscribe to it, get notified every time we go live. Like I say every week, tell somebody, grab a friend, hold them tight, lick their face, do something. Tell them about our show. Make sure they subscribe, like, spread the word, spread the good word.
Absolutely.
All right. Well,
Oh,
we're all running on fumes, except for Roth. He got a decent
Watch
amount
out,
of
you're about to
sleep.
knock the thing over.
Well, cool. I was just scooting up. Yeah, we're running on fumes, like I
yep.
said. So,
Spent the last 3 days in Dodge City at the depot.
Yep.
3 public events.
3 sold out.
Sold out events. It was
Yes.
great. It
Yeah.
was quite the busy time.
It's fantastic. Had a good time.
I don't think the depot was quiet, except for after we left about from 4 o'clock in the morning until 5 or 6 when Carl came back to work.
Probably.
Yeah, the building was completely like busy the entire time with people running through there. They had shows in the theater the entire time. What you staring at, Roth? You're just staring off the incision.
Space.
Yeah.
While he's lost in thought and you're getting distracted, I want to say everybody, thanks to the viewers joining already. Appreciate you guys. too many of you guys to name right now. It looks like so. I'm saying hi to everyone right now.
You bet.
What's up, everybody?
Thank you for everybody who participated over the weekend. Who came out to have some fun.
Broken.
It was
Sorry, go ahead.
it was quite the interesting time. We've been there for a lot of years,
I can't remember how many times I've been there. At this
and
point.
over time, each visit we go to the depot, something changes every time, and we encounter different things that we just don't even know how to explain. And last night, on the final night, Leo and I were getting stuff that we weren't expecting. If it was real, wow.
It was too matter of fact to disclaim it or whatever. I don't know what I was
Yeah.
looking for, just to say it maybe wasn't, but
mean,
I don't know. It was impressive though.
If it's true, then that's
Yeah.
the first historical figure I've ever had a chance to actually witness and
Not
talk
just
to.
one.
Well, that's two of them.
Multiple ones
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what we're talking about? Can we say it?
Why not?
Okay.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
all live. I mean, we filmed everything live last night in our
Yeah.
group.
We
so.
came across Jesus Christ last night. And, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Wrote some really? He exists?
Hey guys, right quick,
Wow.
just to let you know, I'm gonna let you have it for a minute so I can step out and return this phone call to work. So,
Yep.
here we go, and you got it. Take it away.
Hold on. Can't tell if that's just me. Are you still? You're good, right?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, it's me then. I'm having trouble with my page
It's
here.
always you.
Always. No, what we were gonna say was we were at the Santa Fe Depot in Dodge City, Kansas.
Where it's always a bit different every visit.
Every time.
Well, the last few visits, especially in January, we were getting certain names, like a Wyatt, and we were I've always wondered if it was Wyatt Earp, because he was obviously there at one point, in history.
Not there at the
Well, yeah,
depot,
Dodge City.
but in Dodge City, because the depot was actually built after Doc and Wyatt and all of them had already moved on.
Yeah, because it was established in I'm gonna get killed for saying the wrong date. It's on my phone. 1898.
Yeah, 1898 opened in 1899, I believe.
Which they were gone by that time for sure. They were there in the
Well, I mean,
60s, 70s,
Doc was
50s.
even
Yeah.
passed away by
We
then.
haven't said his name yet.
I'm just saying, Doc was already passed away. Wyatt was
I
already
know.
living his
Yeah,
life.
LA.
Yeah. Yep. So
Right.
what we're saying is we got in more than one location interaction with one or two spirits that claim to be Wyatt Earp and claim to be Doc Holliday. So and asked specific questions to them, each one of them, and they answered accordingly. And I was asking about Wyatt Earp's wives, the ones that they're all dead now, but the ones that passed away during his lifetime or whatever. And
His women. Because he was only married once.
yeah, the other ones are common
His,
law.
all of his
He had three
lovers.
common laws and one actual marriage. His first marriage was his real wife.
Right.
And then, but I was asking him about Josephine, if she was there, and he said yes. Asked her about Maddie. He's like, nope, she's not there. I didn't ask about his first wife. You really have? If she was there, I just asked to make you upset when she passed away. And he got right away, shot. We were doing dowsing rods. We were
Dowsing
doing
rods, the
spirit
K2.
boxes, K2s. We were doing all kinds of shit. And we're getting answers left and right through everything.
Was this in the basement?
No, well, once
Started off.
Yeah, once in the basement and then once in the theater part.
Oh wow.
And it's all on Facebook Live, majority of it.
Yeah,
Not all of it.
I didn't film anything upstairs because
Yeah.
the first two nights when we were together, we didn't have anything happening upstairs.
Hang on. Let's say without sound.
Ah,
I can still hear it.
Yep.
I don't know sign language right. Translate. Let's try
I know one, but you want to see it.
it.
Can you turn yours on and see if you got any sound on there?
yeah.
So, anyways.
Sorry, guys. Well, we don't have sound. Nobody can hear you.
Oh, they can't
Yeah,
hear us
so-
at all. Okay.
I hear you.
Ask Chris at home, do you still? Okay, Cindy says she has sound.
Okay.
Chris?
Chris, it's all on you, man.
Turn the radio up.
Okay.
But, yeah, like we were saying, we're getting
Want to come back over here? Because I
Yeah,
can't see you on
they
camera.
can. Oh shit, no they can't. I can see me only.
Yeah.
Fuck. Here we come.
They did.
Oh, excuse me. So yeah, this thing was telling us in the theater also too. He was Doc Holliday. He was. When I asked about his first wife that passed away, I think my pitch and my tone was a little weird. It kind of gave a. Because even one of our guests was, were you meaning to sound, or were you meaning to like be? I don't remember what she said, but
Disrespectful or
the question, yeah, the question
condescending?
disrespectful. I said no. I said no. I said, and Jason knows. I've talked about this many times. That White Earp is my favorite cowboy ball from that era, that time. That whole
Well,
family, White Earp to
yeah.
Doc Holliday to.
Well, you even said when you were asking the question, I'm not meaning in any disrespect, you know.
But,
Can I ask you about your wife?
but when I asked about the wife, sorry, I'm tangling up in cords down here. The K2 like went bam to red, like it was pissed. And when I asked that, I wasn't trying to be like so disrespectful to anybody, but
Right.
and I apologized. And I mean, it didn't make him mad. It was real strong and forceful. But I don't know. It's cool the experiences we had. That's really who it is.
And we weren't even touching the dowsing rods, myself or Leo. It was the guests doing it, and different guests were holding them. And you know, you can say what you want to about dowsing rods or anything like that.
Sure.
I mean, I was trying to help him out at the very beginning. You know, shake him out, make sure you're holding it just right.
And I was watching. They were doing a great job. The
Yeah.
guests that were holding it, they were kind of almost with fingertips because they were
Yeah.
afraid they were going to touch something wrong.
Right.
The things were just moving.
And moving, and then at times they would just spin,
Yeah, like
out of
like a
control
helicopter
spin,
blade.
and she's just holding it
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
like
Just spinning around.
Yeah, like it was doing something weird to it, but
that's what I mean by spinning.
I wonder if that would have anything to do, like when you some people hold the medallions and they, you know, like on a
Oh,
chain,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they start spinning in
Pendulums?
circles.
Yeah.
different
pendulums,
things
yeah.
like that. Yeah, could
But
be.
I mean, but I didn't film the upstairs just because up by the staircase the first two nights we weren't getting anything.
Not a lot. If anything.
So, but we get there first rotation. It was fantastic because we heard a door downstairs,
Door
so I
upstairs.
went down the hallway
Yeah.
to just check it to see if anybody was down there, and I figured it might have been Cindy or somebody else, Carl moving about. But I stayed at the end of the hallway because Leo had got the crowd up there
On
upstairs
the third level.
on the third
I
level.
was standing on the staircase in the landing area.
Mhm.
And
Sorry.
up there had the REM pod going on the steps,
Geophone.
geophone, and then I was carrying a K2.
The guests had K2s, millimeters. We had all that stuff. We had it pretty surrounded everywhere. REM pod, like I said, was on there.
Soon as
Spirit box.
soon as you started asking about, I think it was Walter.
Yeah.
The name Walter came through.
Well, I
Upstairs.
think I said it was a little girl that occupies this space. So she ran, and what's her name, whatever, and they heard Elizabeth right away. I'm like, I didn't even hear it. I heard it
Yeah.
talk, but I was like, what does it say?
But the guests heard it.
Because it was
The guests heard.
It was
Yeah.
faced towards them. I had the spirit box kind of
Yeah.
angled where I could hear so much of it, but I couldn't hear it all unless it was real clear and loud. But yeah, it came across as Elizabeth. It was a male voice again, which we had that night before, and I said, "Who's the male voice? Who is this?" And it said Walter. So he was up on the second and third floor.
Sounds like he's starting to move.
He's been there apparently a lot.
Right. And the crazy thing is, as soon as he started hitting his name coming through the voice box, and they were saying Walter, so that is you. REM pod started going off,
Yeah.
and as I'm standing way at the end of the hallway at the same time, and the voice box was what is the sensor on that? The
temperature gauge on the.
was going off. REM pod was going off, and my K2 down at the end of the hallway just started lighting up. And I wasn't even moving, and for like 10 minutes it wasn't doing anything. And then as soon as all that started happening, bam, just everything just
Heavy
hit.
activity just started happening everywhere. Yeah.
And it sounded like it was coming from multiple directions on the hallway. Is that right?
I don't know. It's just the whole area lit up with energy.
Wow.
Hard to say. I mean, because it was the REM pods first started going off when Elizabeth came through, the girl, her voice and all that stuff, and then again his voice also too. But besides that, he keep coming upstairs. You could hear her, and the guests could hear her. What triggered it off in the first place we went up there is because you could hear the high pitched kind of wails again of her, like her voice. So I think it sounded like her, but there was also a concert going on next door, so it could have been interference, like as far as sound that was traveling in there. But it was enough to spark my interest that I said, let's go up there, check it out if you want to. So they all wanted to go up there right away.
And it was like a faint.
It was like a wail,
Mine,
just a moan.
that we got a couple times, it was faint, but it was like a, hey,
It was just
the voice that
high-pitched,
she
yeah.
does, right,
Yeah.
pitched. Yeah,
But
yeah.
laughing at your high pitched girl voice.
That's right.
But no. But then we kept asking those kind of questions, and then I didn't want to we spent quite a bit of time in that area off right off the bat because it was just so active, and so we decided to move down the hallway a little bit.
Did you guys have the SLS?
No.
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 Jake wasn't there.
No.
Oh, okay.
What were you gonna say?
Okay.
I was just gonna say. Then we moved off to the.
Yeah. We went to, when you walk down the hallway, there's a couple of rooms. It's called the costume room, where they have it's the big flat table and a bunch of props and stuff in there. We went in there and Jason broke out the dowsing rods, and a couple people used them before. They grabbed them right away and wanted to test
Yeah.
that theory. So they started asking questions, and she got kind of stumped on when they thought it was a man or something. And they're like, "What else can we ask?" I'm like, "Ask if his name starts with a W."
Yeah. W.
I didn't say Walter White. I said W. Thing went cross right away, and she's like, "Oh, there it is." So she said Walter right away. I didn't say anything. Well, then the girl next to her, I think it was her daughter, started asking me, "What's your occupation? Are you a doctor?"
Well,
no, doctor.
no.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
They asked, "Are you a cowboy?
Yes.
Are you a businessman?
Nothing.
Are you like city folk type person?"
Yeah.
Nothing.
I said train. Somebody with a train.
Yeah.
Conductor.
Conductor.
Did I ask? Nothing.
And then and then one of the girls asked, I think it was it Hannah?
I think it's her daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. She asked, "Are you a doctor?"
That thing
And-
was crossed.
and it crossed.
And it crossed like emphatically, where it was not just. It was like, yes, I'm a doctor. Like you're proud of being a doctor. So immediately in my mind, I'm thinking, holy shit! 2 doors down from there, where we're at, there's that remodeled, exhibit of a hotel room. Doctor bag sitting on there. I'm like, what if it's this bag? I mean, maybe that's why he's around this person that would W that says he's a doctor, traveling doctor. So I ran down there to look, and I couldn't see any tags on the bed or anything. And I ran down and got Carl, and we were talking about it, discussing it. He came up with it with me. He's like, he was telling me, he's like, I've never opened that bag ever. I've never seen it. And me personally, I've never seen the inside of it. So I was like, that'd be cool to go open it up. He goes, let me know when you're gonna open up. I'll go up there with you. I'm like, let's go now. So we went upstairs and opened it up. It's empty. We looked there all over, inside, outside, for any kind of initials, names. Nothing. But he knows where the source of it, kind of where it came from. It was donated to the depot, but it was also it was bought from a secondhand store. But he doesn't know who or where, but he knows who donated, so he's going to ask with them and find out.
Let's see if they know.
They can kind of backtrace this whole, doctor bag and, possibly what we were hitting on up in there,
Yeah.
which was cool. And I had left for quite a bit, and you guys came out. And what else did they ask? You said you were a traveling salesman or something, or a doctor, excuse me.
Passing through,
Passing through, that's right.
but yet was staying there. I mean, passing through maybe for a while, was staying in town, but wasn't a permanent resident. Which, I mean, Wyatt and all them were just passing through. They weren't permanent residents. They none of the historical figures like that, besides Bat and Ed Masterson. They were kind of fixtures of the town. But then we came out, and then we went to our second rotation down in the basement.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Excuse me.
when we went off into that corner
Yeah.
where you started every night.
Yeah.
And
for reasons.
right, and you had the ghost box going. Did it hit on anything that night?
Same 3 nights in a row, and even back in January, I want to say, or April when we were there last. It's Walter right away. Well, no, I take that back. The first time we were down there, it said Wyatt in that
Right.
corner. That's when people were saying Walter's over here, Wyatt's over. I was confused because I'm like, well, Wyatt said he was here initially back in January. Well, 3 nights in a row, give me the name Walter, same voice, you can tell it's him. I mean, same pitch voice, same. I don't say it's him, but Walter every time. One of the nights he touched my arm behind me. He came up behind me because he's the one that's kind of playful, I think, kind of jokingly and stuff. And he came up behind me and was just grabbing me from behind. I was like, holy shit! It startled me, not scared me, but startled me
Right.
because I wasn't expecting
Right.
anything. But once again, the spirit box was going off. Temperature gauge on it was going off. K2s were getting things, and millimeters rising at the same time because people were throwing out numbers right behind me, or I was further in to the wall and they were kind of by the door.
Is this down?
When you come down the stairs and you take a immediate right, the unfinished part of the tunnel
Mhm.
and stuff, that
Yeah.
area.
It's not very long, but
No,
it's
but
where the tunnels used to be.
it's dark
you know,
and
so
spooky, as far as it's old.
Right.
So I was going down there first because I knew back when we first started going down there, supposedly that was supposed to be a possible malevolent, mischievous spirit,
or
supposedly.
just angry,
Yeah,
pissed
so-
off kind of figure.
And
Yeah.
it always gave us in the beginning a menacing kind of feel to it. I felt
Yeah.
like it was dark.
Anymore, you don't kind of get that anymore. The more times we've been there,
Yep. So
but then we kind of moved off from that,
Yep.
and then we went down to got to fly in
I know,
here.
saw it. That's why I moved on camera.
We took the guy. I split the group up. You took one in half. I
Right.
went back into the far back, and that's when I was getting. I did the portal back there. I usually like taking everything back there,
Right.
just trying to use the portal back there. I know Mike and Carl were talking about having seen a shadow in the far back there that kept crouching down, standing up pretty tall, and then crouching back down.
And would every now and then rush. I feel like they said they'd rush at him, whatever, because of
Yeah.
a gust of wind or something. But I've interacted. Then my own experiences with that, I went every night back down there and tried to stir it up, and they would
Yeah.
never come at me. Jason had some stuff go on.
Every group I took down there that night into that area, there's at least somebody, more than one person in the group that kept getting like their back touched, or like a hand on their back, or just kind of like a fingers going down their back. Really kind of in a creeper way, almost. I guess you can say. Got the portal going again. Got Walter's name through it, not Wyatt, but Walter. Asked, are you waiting on something? Yes. Are you waiting on the train? Yes. Okay. Where are you headed? Garden City. It actually said Garden
Yeah.
City through the portal. And then we're like, so the guests were asking, well, what are you doing? Where are you going? Or why are you doing it? Or is there a specific reason? What are you going to do when you get there? I don't know. It's just, and then it just tapered off. And then no more voice.
Interesting.
Yeah, but it was the same voice talking through that. But then so we came back around, and your group kind of went in the back and to that area where the Christmas trees were at, and then it's when I took the dowsing rods out again, and it was the daughter of the woman that was upstairs doing it. The rods up there in the costume shop. Her daughter took it, and she's asking just random questions and everything like that, and just trying to catch a name. It wasn't answering to Wyatt or Walter. It wasn't answering. It wasn't answering for Elizabeth. It wasn't answering for anybody. So just on a whim, she goes, because of what happened upstairs, the guy was a doctor. She goes, "Are you Doc? Is your name Doc?" Crossed yes. She just kind of giggled. She goes, "Are you Doc Holliday?" And it was just adamant. It was just like very strong. Just hit her right in the arms.
The rods.
And yeah, the rods just turned and went straight. And then that's when we started asking questions that had to do with Doc Holliday and Wider. And Summer was there. Summer
Was she
showed up.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had just been to Doc Holliday's memorial site about 2 weeks ago. So she already had all this.
Glenwood Springs, that was called?
Yeah,
In Colorado?
yeah. So she had already, she knows the history, and it's kind of still fresh in her mind too. So she's asking questions about it, and it was just amazing. The answers and responses were equal to historical events. And then Leo comes in and starts asking
Well, and to
questions
me,
with
what's
that.
interesting in that is, a lot of people could sit there and say that, it was luck or it was just doing that.
Could be.
But the average person that's holding on to that thing is not going to know the answers to those questions.
Most of
Is
the time,
that-
no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Most of the
majority
time,
of the
no.
time.
The
Yeah.
majority of the time.
I mean,
No.
is it possible? I mean, she's just holding them on
Yeah.
the sleeve. I mean, if you look at them, they're on a sleeve. I can go get them too and show them on camera again.
Mhm.
We've used them in the studio, and she's holding them as still as could be, and they're answering to no, to yes, to no,
Interesting.
and I don't know. It was, some of the questions that Leo was asking just was very historically bound questions that it's not just,
It's getting more interesting.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
I was
more times
I
we
was
go back.
dumbfounded by the whole events and downstairs and eventually upstairs. But I even asked him if his name was John Henry, because that's his real name, Doc.
Yeah.
His name was John Henry
Mhm.
Holiday, and it crossed real fast. I'm like, okay.
John
Whatever.
Henry.
So it was just the fact that we asked if he knew Wyatt, and it crossed. It was easier. We asked later on, but we asked if he knew Wyatt, and it crossed. And just some of the questions, like I said,
Were you best of friends with Wyatt?
that was up in the theater. Though.
Yeah, but I was just
Yeah. Yep, we asked him that, and we asked Wyatt Earp if he was friends or best friends. Did we ask Doc or Wyatt?
It was Doc.
Okay, and then he was like, it was just like, I said, well, are you guys acquaintances then? And then, so they weren't really friends, and this kind of fits the mold of the story. I mean, they became,
They were friends,
Friendly.
but they also went their separate ways many
Yep.
times
Yep.
and stuff.
It'd be fun to get. We need to get one of those pieces of equipment that will spell out. They have some out there
Yeah,
now,
but they're
where it would
expensive.
spell. Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see if you would get the same type of answers.
they're hard to
but have
find,
them-
number one, because they're in such high demand, because it goes to Avengers.
Right.
We're talking thousands of dollars.
You got another one that looks
Yeah.
promising that I'm looking at, so we'll see it.
Cool.
Called the Puck 2.
Oh, yeah, Paranormal Bucks, yeah. Yeah, that's similar to what the Obelisk
Is it?
The Obelisk speaks, though. The Paranormal Buck, I don't think.
It does with the computer.
Yeah, you hook it up to like a tablet.
I was talking about the one on Facebook that Jeremy Jones builds.
Oh,
He's got
yeah.
one that's similar, but it'll spell out the words
Yeah.
using a device.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what
yeah,
I'm talking about,
Yeah,
something-
Yeah, it's called
but-
I think a PDA. Not PDA, it's something. Yep. But yeah, it was just interesting the fact that we're getting all these results. Like I said, in the theater was really interesting.
The theater was, I mean, for the first time, all three locations, for me personally, it was active the entire night.
Really?
I've never had that experience at all. We get into the theater, and once again, we started off with the ghost box, started talking.
Right, and there was a reason why I did that, because the first two nights, the first night we got in a certain corner, I was asking who's in the theater, we didn't know your name. I said Fred, which immediately in my mind goes to the theater, because it's Fred Harvey,
Right.
the Harvey girls. So I said, what's your last name? I said Harvey. I'm like, cool, if it's him, that's awesome, but, and then so the second night I did it again, got the same result, Harvey, and then,
And this is on the voice box.
yeah, and then the third night I tried it, nothing, until we started doing things again with the dowsing rods and the REM pod and all that stuff, and go ahead and tell you part of it.
That's amazing. You got
Okay, so
Wow.
so
Fred Harvey.
But third night
We
he
had,
he didn't come through.
we had four of the younger ones there. I don't know how old they were.
Yeah.
The dancers, the ones that were dancing.
at the end of
I
that.
was like, the answer's what?
Yeah, there she was dancing on camera.
That's hilarious.
And then I said, hey, by the way, you're on camera. Just to let you know, you're. But she was really excited because she was about ready to start doing that down in the basement, but then we moved on.
Mhm.
So I went over and gave them to her, and she's like, "Oh, okay." So they sat there at the table next to the stage, and she's not leaning on the table. She's not doing anything. She's just, got the light from your flashlight luminescing with red light, and we're picking it right back up from where we were left off downstairs in the basement. It was, and you had the REM pod on the stage, not far from him, and when asking questions about, are you on stage? Are you with us or anything? Like, and they had the two K2s on the table with them, and as it was like answering questions, the K2s would like light up
They blip.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it was that time we were in that one house.
Yeah, just like
Really?
that. But it was doing that. Yeah, I'm not lying.
No, that's just good. It's just good to know that, like, when something like that happens in other places,
Yeah.
it happens.
It was
somewhere
very strange, and I got it on camera too. It's all
Yeah.
filmed on that. It's and because it's asking, it's hitting yes, and they were hitting at the same lights too. It wasn't just the one here and then two here. It was light up,
Wow.
and
Wow.
you know, I mean, we just kept asking. You know, they were asking the questions.
Right.
They were just going around the table just asking questions, and the guests just off on the other tables were, you know, jumping in and doing it.
That's awesome.
And-
Yes, we're really getting in.
Oh,
They
it
were-
was
Oh, I loved
fantastic.
it. Yeah, every night.
And then you guys started seeing like shadow movement up on the
Yeah,
stage.
it kept recurring over and over.
So I walk around and I go off to the other side, and I go over to the stage and I'm just standing there and I got my hands on the stage and I'm just looking forward toward the curtain, just kind of keeping my eyes open to all my surrounding. And you're talking, you're asking questions, but you guys are still seeing the shadow
Oh
moving
yeah.
up there.
Yep.
And you guys thought I got on stage.
It looked like I was like asked Jason where he was on stage 2 seconds ago because you see a black shadow move towards him. You could physically see it because we had the laser grids up too.
Okay, so question: when you walk into the theater and you're facing the stage in front of you,
Yeah.
was it off to the left or the right?
The left.
The shadow was the left, but the voice box sessions and everything else was on the right.
Because and maybe Carl, if Carl's listening to this, somebody, I can't remember who it was. Didn't somebody the last time we were there tell us that somebody famous used to speak on one of the corners that passed away
I
or
have
something
no
like
idea.
that? If Carl, if you hear this out there and you know what I'm talking about, text back if you can.
I don't know. But
Somebody, I remember because they said
but-
they kept seeing that shadow.
yeah, but that's what we were seeing. We were seeing a shadow. I don't know who it was. I don't even know that story.
Yeah.
But what we were, because I came back around and you guys asked me, how'd you get off the stage
I
so
was like, how did you get here
fast?
so fast? He was just right in front of us all of a sudden. He's like, I was never on the stage.
Yeah, I was never on there. I was just over there. So I went back
Yeah.
and I'm standing there and I've got my hands back on the stage. I'm just trying to listen and I could just feel my hands just tingling. It was like electricity just going right through my hands. It was kind of intense feeling. And then you saw something above me. You said it was like a,
Glowing light, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like a glowing, yeah. Just like a, I don't know, bright light that shot up from the ceiling, which the ceilings are tall in there, so
Yeah.
it's not as if it's close to Jason.
He's
But
asleep.
what?
Carl.
Oh,
Oh, I'm like, what?
He's napping.
but so anyway, we came back and you took off to go check on something, and so I came back around and the guests are still going, having fun with asking questions, and it was getting more intense because the K2s are still going off, hearing footsteps on the stage, and then at one time when the guests kept saying, "Is that you on the stage?" and the REM pod just started going off like crazy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it was,
and that happened a couple times, and I even panned over and was filming that, trying to catch it, but you can hear it loud and clear on camera to it. So
yeah, it was very, very eventful last night, especially. I mean, just everywhere we went, and just the amount of activity that was happening, and the results that we were getting. If it's accurate, 100% sure, that's pretty incredible. I mean, it was mind blowing to me. So
yeah,
yep.
so the first 2 nights not as much.
Well,
upstairs
There was
Not-
stuff going
They're
on.
active.
stuff not for me. First 2 nights, you had some stuff going on
Yeah.
with the guests and everything, but I don't feel like it's ever been as active as it was third night.
Not
But
consistent the way it was.
You guys were having stuff happening the first
like
night.
we had 3
Yeah.
sets of teams, 3 sets. We had about 10 guests, a little more than 10 guests per each group, and everybody didn't. If them to come back for a break, they're like, "Oh my God, what's this? Oh, what's this?" And everybody had stories immediately, and it was just
Yeah.
active for everybody. It sounded
That's
like.
awesome.
We were gonna say, Dan, sorry.
Well, like in the costume room last night,
Mhm.
one of the guests were taking pictures with her camera.
Oh yeah, yep.
And in the mirror
Yeah, that's
from across
wild.
the room, nothing there.
I have
And
those.
she takes a second picture, and there's a female face. I mean,
I
it's
have those.
female face. It's so cool.
Well, you know what? She showed it to me. Renee was with you, talking
Yeah.
about it. And she goes, "It's right here, right?" I go, You guys seen it? I didn't see initially what they saw.
Yeah.
If you look at the picture more, it's a face on top of a face. There's like two people in the picture.
No, okay.
They missed that. I'm like, it's right here, right? They're like, no, what are you looking at? I'm saying it's right up here, right? And they're like, no, it's right here. And I go, oh, there is one there, but you see the one up here? And they look at it again. They go, oh my God, there is somebody on top of that. So there's two people standing on top of each other, or side by side.
Side by side, one
One's a
top.
male, had like a white collar, like it was all black. Had like a white, just the collar was white itself. Had kind of like a brownish hair, like a little mustache, kind of.
Possible doctor, maybe.
I hate to speculate because I saw another picture that she took later on. She said that they thought it was a lamp in the theater.
Right. Well, okay, it is a lamp. We did prove
Is it though?
But if you look at that thing, you cannot tell me that's not facial features.
It looks
had
like freaking
period
white herb,
haircut.
or I would say white herb.
Yeah, it had the period haircut,
Yeah.
black hair.
And it's
Wow.
not, and it's not an app phone we talked about in the past. They're taking this one, boom, real time, and they're showing as they're doing this.
Wow.
So it's not as if they have time to go, okay, put the app in real
You
quick.
have
They're
those?
looking.
That
Renee
one-
has them. I was
Yeah,
gonna
Renee
see.
has
I
them.
thought I had them too, but she was supposed to send them to us.
I have them, but I'll show it to you guys
yeah,
later.
it's
You got the lamp
it's
one?
I don't think I have the lamp one, but
Really?
I have the mirror one.
Yeah.
yeah, the mirror one. I was looking at it. I'm like, I didn't see what they saw initially. So I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh. Then she told me that she showed me. I've been watching her flip through them.
Mhm.
She took the picture in succession like we would do to try to replicate it, and nothing's there in the next picture. So I don't know. It was that part left my head scratching. I mean, I don't know. I could make claims that it was just matrixing or whatever.
And
But-
it could be, but maybe,
but-
yeah. She was taking them, and we were looking at them almost instantaneous, and it was just.
Because I asked over and over. I said, and that's a lamp in that one you're talking about. I
Yeah.
said, that's a lamp, right? She goes, yeah, there's one on the other side too. I go, it's a lamp, right? Because to me it looks like a goddamn face.
It was a face. You
I
could see the
mean,
face.
it looks like looks like
Wish we could
freaking
put it up.
Wyatt. It looks like Wyatt Earp, man. I'm telling you, or Doc Holliday. Probably more Doc Holliday, I think, because the way he had the skinnier face.
We'll all look at it together
Yeah.
before we start putting it up.
Yeah. But I was impressed. I mean, I was just like, holy shit.
It was wonderful.
The activity itself.
And we
What
had a
else?
whole bunch, with the name, on the spirit box, we had all night long. Of course, Walter's coming through,
Yep.
but Walter was actually also calling himself Walt. many
That's right.
times.
You were saying Walt.
So we got Walt. So I don't know if he's doing a shorthand thing or maybe because I asked him several times, and we've been told that you take the name Walter because we give it to you, but it's not your real name. Can you give us your real name? And he said Walt a few times. Of course, he'd go back to Walter, but yeah, it was just crazy. And that was mostly in the basement. We did the dowsing rod up by the stairs.
Uh-huh.
We towards the end of the night, on the third night, we did get a lot of dowsing information, and Elizabeth came through, and she went upstairs, and it was a little bit stronger upstairs, but I didn't go up with her because that's when we get the pictures in the mirror. So
Yeah.
so I hung out in there for a while, trying to get that information. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty active up there.
And people can say what they want to about dowsing rods. I'm sure all the
Well, hell, we've said it before.
yeah, we've said it before,
Years ago.
and I'm sure there's teams out there that want to just do all the digital, tech stuff and think that dowsing rods are stupid. But no, I think people use them to find water and they find graves. They do prove to be accurate with a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, any of the equipment
So-
we use is modified something or other, and
Yeah.
they all can be manipulated in certain ways.
Yeah.
K2s can be affected by cell phones or electronic stuff.
Right.
Millimeters can be,
Right.
walkie-talkies, you name it. All this shit we use can be affected. I mean,
Yeah.
it's...
We
But,
did have some walkie-talkie play again.
But,
Yeah.
Oh
good.
yes.
go ahead.
Oh, really?
Let us say what you're going to say first.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. I was just going to say K2s and cell sensors. I mean the old
Yeah, cell
school
sensor.
cell sensors, but K2s as well can both be manipulated with
Those-
walkie-talkies and cell phones. I mean
the,
they're
the gray the gray the gray K2s are really easy to
Yeah.
just manipulate.
But
I had a at one place that I helped out with up in Topeka one time. Actually had one of the old gray K2s sitting inside a Faraday cage, completely sealed off. Shouldn't have been any kind of disturbance with it.
Right.
And it was getting slight manipulations from a walkie-talkie. We'd stand about each one of us had a walkie-talkie standing about 10 feet on either side of it, just directly across, and just clicking the button on the walkie-talkie, and it didn't hit very far like it normally would. You know, most of the time, one of those would be all the way up in the red every time you click that button.
Sure.
But this time it was just hitting, like one green light, at the lowest level.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, any of that stuff, any of it can be manipulated. You
Right.
just,
And the people that are, I was going to say, was the people that are designing those things, like Gary Golfka and all them, and other people, they're aware of that stuff, so now they're trying to modify them to where they block some of that shit out
Mhm.
and interference and stuff.
They're going to
So
have
newer
a
ones are
hard
gonna
time
have-
with that
It
though,
is.
because
It's all radio
waves.
Yep. Yep.
The
Microwaves stuff.
thing we're talking about, things that measure electromagnetic fields and
Right.
things on the electromagnetic spectrum.
Right.
And radio waves and light waves and every bit of it is part of the electromagnetic
Yeah.
spectrum. So they're going to have a hard time completely.
Yeah, of course.
They'll never be able to modify it to that point. But
Exactly.
I mean, they can make it better.
Yeah, they improve.
And more
it,
power to 'em,
still,
but-
yeah, like you said. But yeah, no, it's crazy shit going on everywhere
Yeah,
we went.
It
And
is cool.
yeah, I wish we had other people on the show tonight that we had the other group because they could probably tell with their experiences.
Yeah.
But yeah, just everywhere we went, something different, something new, possibly, or just
So-
increased activity.
We were. Was this just the first night?
Oh yeah,
Just the first night, right?
what's
The walk-in situation.
started every night.
Second and third, we had.
Every night.
Yeah. We did anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mexican.
He's like, oh.
So
It's-
every night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't hear it every night.
Yeah, because you were standing next to me and I go, "There's that voice," and you're like, "I don't hear it."
Yeah, my walkie was
So
not
it's
doing
not
it.
every.
Right.
And I was on the same frequency as you
Yeah,
guys.
but it could be different things with that too. But yeah, you didn't hear them one time. But yeah, there was a Mexican female coming through every time, saying the same shit over and over. Something about a car and this. and that.
Really?
But it was always the same.
Wanted
Same.
somebody to move her car for
Yeah.
her.
every
And
night.
She was just very fast talking and just.
So I tried answering in Spanish a couple times.
Right.
And Renee did too, and she would never respond to us.
Really?
Which is kind of whatever. I mean.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just like, whatever, you guys, you have to fucking.
It was
now.
funny. Leo even radioed in. Is that you, Renee, talking? And she's like, I can't talk that fast. It's
But,
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about
And to
that.
say, Chris was telling us right now about up in the dressing rooms. They have a intercom system in there,
oh yeah.
and they were getting something talking through it,
Really?
and nobody was
That's
touching
cool.
it.
I guess they were hearing like a heavy breathing
Yes,
coming
everything.
over their intercom. The intercom just up in the second floor
Dressing room.
rooms and everything.
Mhm.
They're used to when they're on stage, or the radio sound booth, whatever. They can
Right.
what's the production booth I want to call it. They can radio back to them too,
Right, but I was told
but nobody's up there. But
that
the other room's
they
locked.
don't
Mhm.
ever use those
I
anymore.
don't think they even work, or they're not.
That just
Something.
nobody uses them anymore, so
Yeah.
there's no sense of like them actually being turned on.
Right.
Right.
Last night,
Yep.
because there's nobody around to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they kept going off, which
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
It-
cool.
sparked interest in me because Jason has talked about walking past those dressing rooms and nobody's up there and they hear voices like conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
it's the same thing they're hearing or if it's actual conversations with
Yeah.
the spirits.
Well, back in January, the last time I was up
Mhm.
there, I experienced that very same thing. Had
Oh, cool.
one of my groups, or I guess my group for the night,
Uh-huh.
was up there, and I can't remember. Might have been Chris. No, maybe not. I don't remember.
No, Chris was only there in April, I believe.
Okay.
when he came.
Well, someone, maybe it was Michael. I don't remember. Someone was in my group that we have, a fair amount of dealings with.
Right.
So if I could remember who it is, they could attest to it. But we were kind of going through that hall up there.
right.
Excuse me. We heard a lot of that. I mean, even to the point of like doors opening, and full, couldn't make out what they were saying, but like full on conversations inside those rooms. Open the door, no one in there.
Right.
Yeah. Paul and
Yeah,
I had that
yeah.
same effect in January. We were just setting up, getting everything ready before we went to go eat. So it's still daylight out and everything, and we walked past that last costume room,
Mm-hmm.
And as we walked past it, we heard like 2 females talking in there,
Right.
and she was the only female in the room.
Right. Yeah.
So we walked in there, and nobody's around. We searched, nobody around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. In that same hallway was where I heard all the commotion back in January when, we were taking a break, and I thought you guys had gone ahead and started a rotation because I heard all this commotion back in. I was sitting on the stairs playing with the Boo Buddy,
Yeah.
and
you were snuggling with the teddy bear. That's cute.
yeah,
For everybody
I
out
like
there,
teddy
that's a bear.
bears. Come on,
No, you're the bear.
no, not that one, not that one. No, no.
It's his nickname for Ruth. Boo buddy.
You know that bear.
Sorry.
I missed that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I
But I
swear
heard, I heard all that commotion back there in that hallway, and I jumped up and ran. I didn't see any. I just glanced down the hallway, didn't see anyone down there, but I ran downstairs and got to the dining room
Oh,
there
right,
where we
right.
were set up, and everyone's still in there. I thought,
Well, this is my man
did anyone go upstairs? I mean, even one person? Anyone?
Right.
Yeah.
No. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that the Boo Buddy,
Yeah.
the bear. I always fail to tell people
Oh, I
about
know,
that
me too.
when we take our groups up there,
Yep.
and the second night, because we didn't use it last night at all,
No.
but the first 2 nights we take people up there. We get them gathered around the staircase, and I start to talk about stuff, and then I always, it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
I'll pause for a second to like go on to my next thought, and that bear would talk. Man, almost everybody almost falls down.
Yeah,
You know,
they freak
it's
out a little bit.
I'm like, oh, by the way, the bear talks. Sorry about that. Same thing happened to Paula. She never, back in January, she had no idea about that. And she went upstairs before the event, and she was up there by herself, and she went up to the stairs to put a recorder up there, and you'd already placed it and turned it on, and she said she about fell down. She heard that thing talk, and she about lost it.
Didn't that happen to you too? Weren't you running somewhere to go do something? You ran past the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
And it said
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caught me by surprise. Yeah. What the hell was that?
I just remember seeing Paula's face. She comes back downstairs, looks at me, and she goes, "So, the bear talks." I'm like, "Yeah."
And depending on what
Yeah.
question it's asking you, it could really get you.
Yeah.
Would you like to play with me?
Yeah.
That would.
Whoa, yeah.
Well, that happened in Oberlin. We had it set up in the train depot in Oberlin, and I asked a certain question, and the answer, whatever the bear said at that time, fit perfectly with my thing. And people were like, I'm like, it's just a bear. It's fine. It just,
I wish it was worked better, just like that.
It was stupid luck is what it was. But no, I was gonna say at the depot, and this kind of Roth would probably be interested in this. That long hallway with the dressing rooms and all that stuff. I was looking. I had 8 guests with me watching. This is Friday night, I think it was, and Jason took most of them into a dressing room. We were just standing there watching and observing. I think it was the dressing room. I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, actually, you went back and shut the door. Remember? And you were by the staircase. There was like 5 of you over there, 4 or 5 of you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So,
yes.
but the rest of the guests and I were standing looking down the long hallway because it's pitch black except for the red exit signs. And we're just sitting there watching. You can see some shadow play. Like that's cool, But out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's an exit sign door that goes down to the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
There's a safety light on. It's always on there all the time. But you can't really see it most of the time. And there's another exit further down. About halfway between the 2 exit signs, all of a sudden you see this green ball of light just come out of the wall, stop, and then go down the hallway away from us. It looked like a goddamn apparition. If there's ever apparition that I've seen with my naked eye, like that clear with the different color, it looked like the waist, like just turning and then walking away from us. We're like, I'm looking at this thing. I actually wrote my contacts. I'm like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? And I go, anybody see that green ball of light down there? Like, oh yeah, we see that. And everybody was afraid to say something. They didn't know what they were seeing.
What corner? Were you by the?
No,
It's
not were you caught. The reason I say that because Rose caught that orb.
That's
I'm
what
not
I
big
was
on
saying.
orbs.
Were you down
For the most
towards
part.
where the stairs, where everybody hangs out with the stairs?
We were.
where
There's
the
a couple
lizard-
of couches on the side. We were standing
Yeah.
by the couches because some of
So
the guests
you were
were sitting
facing
there.
this direction where it came at me like this. You guys were down there.
No, we were standing where you almost same face
And
the
it
way
went
you
the
were.
other way.
It went away from us.
Wow.
But Rose back in January caught on camera okay, with orbs, they're easily explained most of the time. Most of the time they're gonna be dust, they're gonna be insects, whatever. But the fact that on the camera you're viewing, there's nothing doing that. In frame.
Right.
I mean, we watched it. I mean, I watched your video, the whole thing. There's nothing kicking up dust, anything like that, except for that one that had movement, and you could hear the sound coming out of the ceiling, right?
Correct.
And then it just came right at you, towards you, and moved past you or whatever. You could hear this thing with your own ears. Well, this reminded me of that, but it's walking away from us. There was no sound though. We couldn't hear
direction.
anything. It just appeared out of nowhere.
Did it come out of the same room?
See, I thought it came out the door, but the guests, they were telling me, like, no, it's further down. 'Cause I was standing in the very back of the guests.
Because the one that we had on camera came out of the door, and I think it was the
Yeah.
production room.
See, this was on the other side. It was the actual exit doors, towards the
Okay.
exit doors.
Yeah, because this one came out of the production doors, and then came towards the
Now,
hallway.
here's the thing that pisses me off.
Well, it was,
We-
it was coming through from Carl's office, remember? Or not his office, but
the vicinity.
the
Carl's
vicinity.
office is on the left.
It's on the right side.
It's
You're
on the
walking
right
out in the
side.
hallway.
Yeah,
Remember,
If you're
because
coming
that
from
was
the
the
stairs, it's on
significance
the right
about
side.
that.
This came from the right side also, but
Okay.
it wasn't by Carl's office. It was further down.
Further down.
'Cause I thought it came from the exit doors. They said no, it's between the two exit signs.
Oh,
There's
wow.
quite a bit of distance.
Mhm.
The thing I would say, the thing that pissed me off was we had a camera shooting down that direction by the staircase. They got the whole hallway. Now, when Jason went over there, I'm required, or you shut the door between the, remember, to separate the sounds. So there was no camera filming it at the fucking time. I'm like, are you shitting me? Really? Of all the stupid fucking luck. So the guests that were there that night can vouch for what they saw, because I was like, nobody's saying anything, but I'm like, do they don't know what they're seeing? Maybe they just think it's something with their eyes. But the hallway shoots bright red because of the lights.
And that was the only night I did that. That's
It
the
was
only night
green.
I
Yeah.
closed the door.
It was green, a green ball and a red lighted hallway because of the exit signs. So that
Wow.
it's not like anything affecting the sign but it was bright, and it was like I said, I thought my contacts were messed up. I even actually tried to adjust and rub my eye a little bit. I'm like, finally I spoke, because you could just see this thing stop and then break down the hallway. And like I said, if there was ever an apparition that appeared in form, maybe that's what was going on, but that wasn't the full body, unfortunately, that we could see.
That's still awesome, though.
Yeah, and like I said, it matched your orbs situation.
At least you had people around you.
I know. That's why I was glad. I'm like, how you gonna explain this to somebody? Yeah, I just saw somebody
Yeah.
walking. No, you didn't.
Well, I'm talking about it scared
Yeah.
the crap out of me. I didn't.
Oh no, I was
I
just
didn't enjoy
enjoying
it.
it. No, it was fascinating, cool. I'm just like, holy shit, that's awesome.
I'm like, Jason.
I just don't see how you lost
I
it.
was like, Jason,
Yeah.
nobody's there.
No, that was a lot of fun.
So no, the whole place, like I said, produced phenomenal. As you can see by our stories and everything, and like I said, we were all, and it wasn't just my feeling. I think probably Dan. Well, Dan showed up Friday, but still, he got to experience Friday, and Paula and Michelle, and then also Mike and them. They were there with us Thursday night,
Mhm.
and they all going into last night. We all had about the same sentiment that goddamn, it's for third night. It's gonna suck too because the other ones were so.
Yeah.
But the last night was just like, okay, full gusto, here we go. Last night we're here for you, and we're gonna produce, and it was just every room, every rotation, every group had freaking story after story after story going on, and it was just phenomenal.
That's
What was the
awesome.
difference in weather that night? Anything?
Nothing.
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 It actually rained Friday night. Spring.
Yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't intense. We expected it to be more on Friday.
Right.
Electricity in the
Yeah.
area. No, it was Saturday. The only difference between the 2 days is they had 2 shows that night.
They did. They did.
So maybe
have two
that
shows.
energy in the theater kicked up extra energy in the building, but I don't know. It was
Yeah.
whatever it did. It was awesome. Do it again every time we're there.
Yeah.
They'd probably love.
It was one of the funnest
Theater
times.
would
since
love
the-
to do it that way every time,
Yeah.
probably. but-
It's probably the best time I've had in there since the beginning. We started going right away. I mean,
Yeah.
the first time we were ever there, but mean, each time was fascinating, but this one was just exciting and nonstop. So it's crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
And now we're all paying for it because we're tired. Well, I'm actually feeling better now that we're
No,
getting
my
animated.
my body hurts.
Yeah. As you can see on Renee's Facebook page, she posted
Oh, man.
a picture of Jason just like passed out. Well, he wasn't passed out. He was just like hunched over in a chair.
My body, I just had some cake and it
Just
was
had
4
some
in the
cakes.
morning and
Good cake.
It was really
Yeah.
good. Thank you, Cindy, by the
Cindy,
way. She's
amazing,
watching.
man.
Thank you for the cake. It was fascinating. It was phenomenal,
I had-
tasty.
I
Whatever adjective you want to throw in there.
2 slices and then I went and I sat down and I couldn't move anymore. I didn't want to move anymore.
Is that the one where he's like sprawled
Mhm.
out?
Yeah, yeah.
That was the last night. Everything. We loaded up the cars. Everything
Oh,
was just, we were done.
my knees
Finish
hurt
what
so
you're doing.
bad from standing on the concrete downstairs and all the staircases and all that. And just 3 nights in a row. It was a lot.
Wow. And then we had
but,
2 nights last week.
Yeah.
So only a matter of days separated, 5 or 6 investigations.
So did you guys get to experience anything for Dodge City
They did.
days or?
They did.
Um.
Him and Dan.
I saw that
We-
real quick post of
Yeah.
some steers.
Yeah, they
going
did the cattle drive down
Cattle drive,
down the
yes.
street, right in front of our hotel. So that was awesome. I got to see that. Everyone was talking about that. So we were tired. I mean, we woke up just in time to have a little bit of breakfast, some coffee, and then we went out there with Cindy to watch because she came down to watch it with us. And they drove the cattle right past our hotel.
Yeah,
So it was
that was-
awesome.
Was it loud? It's been a while since I
No.
experienced it. I was a
No, it
kid.
wasn't.
No, it
I didn't
wasn't
know
loud
what.
at
Well, I
all.
guess 'cause it's not really the bricks. It's regular road. That's right.
Well, when he went live, I saw one started to break away from me, and I was like,
Run!
Oh, did you
"Jason,
see
he's
that?
coming after
Did
you,
you see
buddy.
that
You
guy?
better, yeah, because I didn't know if you saw it."
He's like turning and
Yeah.
kind of coming toward the sidewalk, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But then he went right back.
Yeah,
you know, it's like,
But he did. He came about 2 foot away from the pack, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you just see these big horns just veer this way, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, buddy,
I was like,
Jason."
well, I
and
was
it was
like,
right when you started walking towards the street. It was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
it's like the cow like
Yeah.
hypnotized with me too. Like, oh, look at that.
There you go.
But no, there's a lot of people on horseback that was riding and riding that. But I gotta say, last night,
Wow.
during the final evening, some of the major entertainment that we had, especially when we were, I mean, you can see it from upstairs, but also from the main lobby.
Yeah.
From the main lobby, is that right in front? Now we had the concert next door to us too, at the Central Station, and a lot of bars and a lot of places had stuff going on late.
Because rodeo got out.
Rodeo
Stuff,
got
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Right in front of the depot, they had a major police checkpoint doing.
Sobriety checks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
30
And-
PHP.
It was right out of like the TV show Cops because they were taking people out of the cars, making
Yeah.
them walk the line, and there's a lot of people not making the.
So much that
Not passing.
where we parked was across the street from the depot. They blocked all that off with cones
Yeah.
because any car they busted, they parked their car from there, and it was their,
Oh, did
that
they?
was their impound for the night.
Wow.
When we left yesterday, I didn't know if you noticed the guy still sitting there in the chair, waiting for transport to get him to.
Oh yeah,
jail.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
That was the Mexican lady that was that made the phone call. It
Trying to
was
get
Juan. Or no, it was what's his name? Fuck. Junior. That's what it was. It was Junior. She's like, Junior, stupid Junior, and this and that. She was pissed because
So was Michael involved in that at all?
no, he was with
No.
us, so
Was
he
he
was
with you
off.
guys?
No, he was smiling and just looking out the window
Yeah.
and everything.
He was happy not to be there part of it
I
because
bet.
he's like, that's
But
tiring.
man,
Yeah.
if they started early and then
Oh, dude.
like by 3, 4 in the morning, they're still going.
They stopped and we stopped basically.
Mm-hmm. You
I
could
was
tell how
thinking,
tired
the hell
they
we-
were
I was
too.
like, how the hell we gonna get out of here? Let's get to the damn checkpoint.
Yeah,
But they packed up as we were getting ready to drive off. So
but they still had people like
they were still there.
across in the parking lot, still handcuffed or
Yeah.
just waiting for
Oh,
transport.
boy.
It was
It was
funny.
funny. Yeah, it sucks, but I mean,
We
it's
can
fun.
laugh because it wasn't us.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I'm
But
guessing somewhere around 40 people got clicked. But, that's because we sat and watched for a few minutes.
they were like, they got another one. Everybody just to the windows and shit. It's like 'cause they're not there doing their freaking test, and shit.
Should have
Walk
played the
line.
cops music. Should
Yeah.
have like opened the
Best
door, just
boys.
put our phone out there with the music
Right.
Yeah.
as the guy's doing his little walk. You
Yeah.
know,
That'd have
that would have been funnier. No.
Yep, so that's
Well-
funny.
Well, sir.
If the first hour is up,
Yep.
you want to take a quick snooze fest, break,
Take a 10-minute power nap.
take an hour break, come back. And, oh, I'm sorry. What? Yeah.
All right. Before we go, you guys take a minute and like and share the page, like and share this video, and
Oh shit.
hit subscribe and everything you can do. Help us get the word out, and we will see you in a few minutes. Oh, I guess I better get the right scene pulled up here, huh?
And
Okay.
see.
There we go. All right. back.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello.
Afternoon.
Good evening.
What the
Sorry,
shit?
I just woke up again.
Have I fallen asleep?
Right?
Oh, I've
Yeah.
been asleep. Yep, we're back. Once again, people at home. Somebody else say, get tired of saying it. Subscribe, like your page,
Blah, blah,
like
blah,
this page, all that fun stuff. Get the word out, man, because we love viewerships. We want people to call in. Quit being so behind the scenes. Come in and call or shit.
Yeah.
Come be a guest. Hell.
Yeah, there's the number at the top of the screen, 316-200-9066. You can call that and call in live on air, and we'll take questions or just have a discussion, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, because you all have a question to ask. Just go
Yeah.
ahead.
Don't be
Just
don't be
call.
shy.
Hey, Travis, I did talk to him a little bit just for a second just now. You want to give us a call in? We'll talk about a little bit more. Kind of, sort of? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, do
Yeah,
it.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a
Wow.
pretty interesting story. that
Something we
he told me.
touched upon a couple weeks ago on our show, and I would love to know what he saw, or
Yeah.
kind of describe it and
Huh.
give us more feedback on that, because that's pretty cool.
You remember what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's not something that is seen every day, or at least talked about.
I've never heard about it in Kansas, but that's the first
I've
time
not,
I ever.
right.
Heard.
Yeah, I mean,
But a lot of people don't probably talk about weird shit.
if they
like
were to
that.
see something like that, who is going to actually
Oh, yeah.
speak up and
I would speak
besides-
up.
I mean, we would.
Yeah.
We would.
You don't
But-
count, Leo.
Like the little slow hand raised.
But yeah, most people will just see it and just blow it off, but be freaked out, but blow it off probably, and just not talk about it.
There's Mike right there. Do we have a question for Mike earlier? We were talking about it. You said something about if he was watching. What were you saying?
We was actually talking about some of the experience he had that evening.
Oh,
the last
okay.
couple of meetings on his
Yeah.
team.
I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
it was something else too, but I thought you said something else. Maybe it was about the sobriety check or something.
Oh yeah, we were just having fun talking about that.
Okay.
Jason, would you do me a favor? Would you take Leo's microphone and move it around so that it actually picks up his voice and it's not just
Well, I
sitting
sat-
on the other side of his computer
I
screen?
sat back too. That doesn't help. So 'cause it was working earlier.
There you go.
But Jason,
So we haven't heard. a
There
word
we
he's
go.
been
That's
saying all
better.
night.
No. Whatever, Rose.
That better?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
better.
So. Sorry, I saw something on there. Oh,
There it is.
Oh, there's someone.
get your heads on. Get your cans on, people. What song?
Good song.
Welcome to the Cryptic Heartland Podcast. You're live on the air. Who are we talking to?
Well, this is Captain Carl out in Dodge City.
Hey!
Hey, we thought you were sleeping.
What's up, Captain Carl?
Well,
Catting.
a little tired and wrung out from the weekend and the last week and the weekend before, but we're hanging together.
Yep, we're feeling it. We're feeling the same thing, man. That's how we feel. Worn out, but it was definitely worth it.
It's extremely well worth it. You need to move away from me a little bit because she's got the podcast going in one ear, and if I'm trying to listen to you in the other, that don't work.
Get a little feedback, are you?
So, what are the guys discussing right at the moment?
Huh? What?
Well,
talking about?
we've been talking about the Dodge City event that just happened this last weekend.
Did you have a question for
So-
Carl too? Somebody did. You wrote it.
Someone did.
The
Yes.
story about the guy in the corner. Remember talking?
Yeah.
On the stage.
Yeah, I think it was the last time I was there. I remember somebody was telling me a story about somebody that was real well known back in the day that did some speeches there on the corner of the theater,
Stage.
the stage there. Was that from you, Carl?
No. I am trying to. Now, I give an informal talk about the building and that kind of stuff. Just as it gives the group an opportunity to get the rest of their equipment set up, and I don't know that they were referring to me in particular, but possible.
Now I remember a while back, the last time I was there, somebody told me somebody really popular back in the day actually stood on that stage on the right-hand side and gave a speech there.
Well, now we are talking about the main Dodge City Theater,
Yep.
not the old Dodge City Theater
No,
that
the
was
depot.
across
The depot.
the depot. Well, probably the most famous people we've had on stage would be the old country and western group Riders of the Sky. Now, back, oh golly gee, you're asking me to use around 2010 was the 50th anniversary of Gunsmoke, and we had some people at that time talking about the original Gunsmoke and the production, but that stage, I'm just trying to clarify, that stage has only been there since 2004.
Okay.
So it's not like somebody in the 1800s, Mark Twain or somebody famous like that, ever stood on that stage and gave a presentation. So I just want that to be clear.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate it.
And the viewers at home, you're listening to Carl. He works out at Dodge City he's affiliated with the depot. He does all the maintenance work out there. He's one of the first people we met out there the first time we went back there in 2011 or whatever it was. He's the one that experienced a lot of the same stuff that we got to experience over the years. Because every time we go down there, he helps out. Him and his wife Cindy, they make sure they make it a point to be available those nights and come out and hang out with us for an evening of fun. And Carl gets to experience, like I said, a lot of stuff we had. So it's fun to. You had your own stories too. I'm sure you could tell, that we don't even know still to this day. But for the most part, we know most of your stories from the depot, from interaction and stuff. Is there anything in your mind, Carl, that you can think of in all your years of working there that maybe I don't know, was different than what we've experienced, or maybe gave you a run for your money?
Well, there have been a number of things. When you guys first came out, and I've shared this story with a number of the different groups, I was like, yeah, right, whatever. Then, because, I've seen some of this stuff on TV, and it's like, yeah, they're just making this up. So it's like that, and that's one thing that impressed me after the first time was the fact that you guys worked so hard to get an answer, a logical answer that, oh, those are pigeons on the roof, or that's a pipe gurgling, or stuff like that. And we've had others in the building that don't work that way. So that said, really a lot of the stuff I experience now, I attribute to you guys opening doors. Because as I've relayed the story about when I first went to work there, that down in a certain area of the building, I had some electrical work to do, and I got messed with. That's the best way to say it. My stuff got moved, things disappeared, and it was quite a frustrating experience. But it was one of you, and it could have been Jeremiah, it could have been Brendan, had said, if you kind of give them a name, it helps personalize the experience. And that's where the names Walter and Wyatt come from, down in the basement. Because this one's kind of a grumpy guy, and when he comes around, you have an eerie, creepy feeling. Kind of reminded me of the grumpy character off of Jeff Dunham. So I called him Walter. And the other one, well, okay, are you a young Wyatt Earp? Are you, and I just nicknamed him Wyatt. But not long after I did that, the interactions changed. So, you know, it's some of the things that have happened through the building, I've taken that advice and used it. Sometimes most of the time it works. As then we picked up on different names. Now, jumping to today, they picked up new names over the weekend in an area that typically been very, very quiet. Over the last year and a half, that area has gotten a lot more active with psychic things happening, or paranormal. Excuse me, let's say paranormal.
We know what you meant.
These new, yeah, these new names that have popped up. The interesting thing now is to try and feed back and research and see where these entities and names fit into the program, because the two new names that I was given out of the theater area, we don't have anybody in that's been involved in the theater company by those names that I'm aware of that is passed. So, you know, that's the neat thing is all of a sudden it's not staying the same, things are changing.
Right.
So
I would agree with that sentence. Yeah, things definitely changed even for us for all these years of coming there. Like you said, the different names, the different interaction with possible entities and things like that was pretty eye-opening and pretty exciting for us.
So, Carl,
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine.
The echo come through the line is making it very difficult for my old ears to hear. So.
You're getting an echo?
Yes, sir, I am.
Let me work on that a little bit. Y'all keep talking.
Yeah, good. Jason, you were going to ask a question?
explain a little bit about what you had happen last night as we were getting ready to leave for the night.
Okay. Now, for your listening audience, I want them to understand that for the last 3 nights, I haven't personally gone on individual tours. What I've discovered over the last year is when I go along, I act more as a calming influence than a empowering influence. So I wait and let each group come back from their particular area, see what their experiences was, and then to that group and that group alone, I give them a little background of what I've experienced in that area. Because I try real hard not to give any preconceived ideas to anybody, so that what they experience is what they experience.
Right.
And so it's interesting comparing notes with the people as they come back, because some people are more in tune to this than others, and I've been on both sides of this. So it's great. We had and I always try and say, okay, this is what I experienced. This is what somebody else is reporting their experience. On Friday night, one of the team members came to me and he said, "There's something new in the basement. There's something new in the basement. A dark shadow, a dark feeling." And he was describing where that was. And while the general groups were at break having cake and coffee and all that stuff, we went down, and I definitely felt a different vibration there, as how I had a different feeling. It was like something new. And when I attempted to converse with it, and I understand we're down in the dark, but even in the dark you have light and dark spots. You could see a shadow that would rise and fall, and a feeling of, "I don't want you here, please leave." It wasn't a evil It was a scared sensation that presented itself as anger. So that's new. And the thing is where after you guys have been in the building and had all of this activity and then leave, that energy remains after you guys leave. So if you get them all stirred up and angry, I got to deal with it.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
that's kind of why we go around and say our little piece, to hopefully calm anything that got stirred up too aggressively. Making sure it's going to be okay for the people that work there or people as such as yourself. That way, they're not going to be affected in any negative way.
Yeah, and I've only had one group that did that. But I can tell you, after the very first time that you guys came, and some of you had pretty aggressive experiences down in the basement. This was before we started doing the public tours. I'd go to the basement and to do my regular duties, and it would be like, "Don't ever bring them back. Don't ever let them back down here again."
Right.
It's not like something is sitting there whispering in my ear saying this. It's an impression that gets pushed into your head, and you either ride with it or you ignore it. So and the more that you guys have done it, the more that I've experienced it, then I've become more in tune to it.
Yeah.
So when we go to, and I've only done 2 different locations with you guys, just the theater complex and then the old Dodge Theater.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting that as I went to the old Dodge Theater, some of these things, they're like, "Oh, you're here."
Right.
So how do you add that up? But I just accept it as what it is and go on.
Right.
That's the reason when they start talking about these new names, and somebody says they pick up on this person is an actress. I'm wondering how much of it is people that were in the old Dodge Theater, which is no longer open to us. How many of those have migrated over, going, "Hey, there's a theater over here. Come watch the show." Because working for a theater company, theater people like to interact with theater people, just like race car drivers like to interface with other race car fans. So that I can make sense out of that. Likes attract to likes, and so are they moving back and forth? I don't know. But that's what's going to make it interesting to take some of the stuff that we picked up. I know Leo last night picked up on what, and somewhere in the group, somehow or another, they said he's a traveling doctor. That
Right.
was picked up on. And we actually have an old doctor's bag that's in a room that we remodeled so that people would know what a Harvey Hotel room looked like. And all of a sudden, is this his? How? So now I want to find out where this bag came from. I know it came from an antique store. It could have been recovered out of the city dump when some of the Fred Harvey stuff was recovered out of the city dump.
Oh.
But I can't answer that. But I want to. Now I've got this question in my mind that I want to. I really like to know where this bag came from. So unfortunately, there's not a name written in it anywhere that we can find, or at least we couldn't that night. I'm going to go back and examine it a little closer in the daylight. See what we find out there.
Yeah.
So.
No, Carl. One thing we didn't check.
That's
We
some
didn't
of the
check the
interesting
bottom.
things we had. And Leo and Renee and everybody else can fill in a lot more details than I can about that particular evening. But I look forward for that stuff coming back to me too, so that so we're all sharing a common knowledge.
definitely.
Hey, Carl, just right quick. Are you
Did I lose you guys?
are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
There you are. Okay. Are you still having the echo?
No, that's pretty clear right now. Thank you.
Okay, good deal. Good deal.
Carl, what I started to say was one thing you and I didn't check on that bag. I don't think we picked it up and looked underneath the bottom of it on the outside.
We didn't.
No,
And I
that's
was
the
just
one
thinking
thing
of
we
that
did.
as I was telling that story, I'm thinking we didn't pick it up and look at the bottom of it.
Everything but that. Yep. So.
Yeah.
Viewers at home, once again, we're speaking with Carl Steinmetz, who's affiliated with the Dodge Santa Fe Depot. He's been there for many years. He's chiming in with some of the experiences, stories he's had over the years. I think one of my favorite stories, Carl, that you had told me over the years was the gentleman who was working on I think it was the water cooler or the HVAC system, something in the basement that to this day basically ran out of the building, wouldn't tell you what he saw, experienced, whatever. I would love to find out that guy's opinion or, anything, what happened to him.
Well, I would too. Unfortunately, he has passed.
Oh,
no.
wow.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I actually just remembered that. He passed about a year and a half ago from a very similar disease to what I was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so consequently, it's like, that story is, well, unless he told a member of his family, and I still am on the lookout for members of his family to see. And I don't want to say his name.
No, please don't.
That's out of respect to him.
Sure.
Because you know how you read people when I asked him to come back to the building because I had questions, and he related that story that I'll walk through the lobby, but I will not go in the basement.
Right.
And it's like you could see the fear in his eyes. Whatever happened scared him to his core. So I don't know that we'll ever know the whole story, but because from my understanding, he never even told anybody that he worked with what exactly happened. He just told the boss, "I won't go back in that building," and that was it. Fire me, I'm not going back in that building.
Right.
Yeah. So I've had other people that have said they worked there for 6 years straight and nothing ever happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start quizzing them about what parts they did, the areas that you guys and myself have kind of said these are the hot spots that we always gravitate back to, they didn't spend any time in those areas to speak of.
Right.
Hard to talk about an elephant if all you ever worked with was the giraffes.
Oh, good old Carl. I love your is it the euphemisms or whatever they're called, or synonyms or whatever? I don't know what you're going to call it. Whatever your adjectives, your stories.
So, Carl, Carl, I got
Yes,
a
sir.
question for you. So
Okay.
after we've done an investigation there, whether it be one evening or, back-to-back events, on Monday when you go into work and the people that are working in the offices upstairs, do you ever get any feedback from them that they can tell when we've been there or have done an event?
Well, let me share a story that happened the other night. We have Amtrak comes in when it's on time, usually about 12:30, 12:45 at night. The last few nights, it's been running in about 1 a.m. We have 1:30, 2 o'clock, like last night. We have a new person that is a volunteer that staffs the train station. While you guys were doing your investigation, I walked in to check the train station because that's also part of my duties, and introduced myself. And she goes, "Well, why are you here at this hour tonight?" And I said, "Well, we've got a paranormal investigation going on." And she looked me dead square in the eyes and she goes, "Well, that explains why we have so many ghosts running around in the train station tonight." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And she goes, "Yeah, my family, my grandpa used to be a ticket agent, used to do this." And she said, "I thought it was because my grandma's picture is on one of the sandwich boards over in the cupola of the train station." But she goes, "Yeah, I know there's been at least 3 different entities that have gone through here tonight." And this gal didn't know me until I introduced myself, but she'd heard the name. So, yes. And it all depends on how the groups work. Because, we've had weekends that we've done a Saturday night, and by our standards, it's been extremely quiet after that night. And on Monday, the building, it just seemed quiet. Or the other thing that happens is we've had a real super active night because of we've had storms and stuff in the area, so there's lots of static electricity in the air. And you come in on Monday morning, and I know I'm skipping around here, guys, and I apologize for that.
You're fine.
But for basically the first 10 years that I took care of that building, Monday through Friday, I was pretty much the only person in that building. Now, of an evening, we would have groups in rehearsing or putting on a show on the theater side. But the rest of the building I was the only one there. So when we started having more and more activity, when I would come in on a Monday, after we had an active weekend, it was one of 2 things I would experience. Either you could hear the little girls and boys running up and down the hallway because they were so happy they had interacted with somebody. They were in playful mode. Or it was a super active weekend, and just like Rose after Carl's been up working on his house, they're like, "Leave us the hell alone. We just want to sit here and be quiet." Throw Rose under the bus. I threw Rose under the bus.
That's all right.
We've been doing that all night, Carl. It's okay. Join the fun.
I'll see you soon, Carl.
It was Carl's turn to get thrown under the bus. Then he just woke in and poked me and said, "Hey, the boys are on the podcast. You ought to jump in and join them." And I'm like, "I'm probably the last person they want to talk to, but okay, we'll give it a try." So it'll be interesting tomorrow when I go in because. Of all the activity we had up on the second floor, it's just going to be one of 2 things. Either they're going to be in super playful mode, and the girls that have their offices up there are going to have stuff moved on their desk and playful stuff, or it's going to be so quiet that you would think you're at church on a Tuesday evening.
Well,
I can see that. Yeah.
So, well, guys, I'll stay here and chatter on as long as you want, but I don't want to interrupt your show. So, you can kick me to the curb anytime.
You guys got anything for him?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you for calling
hospitality
in
this weekend.
So, and I always look at for those that are listening outside that haven't done a tour at Dodge City, like this last weekend, the show ran late, so Jason couldn't set up, and Leo, sorry Leo, don't want to leave you out, couldn't set up all their equipment, so they have me give a talk about the building and a little Dodge City history and basically I become a host, you know, so, and I enjoy doing that. But I always look over to see if Jason and crew are starting to fall asleep because they've heard the same story so many times.
No,
Either
never.
that or, you know, waiting for him to put his finger up in the air and give it the twirl, going, wrap it up, it's not long enough. Yeah,
Sorry.
but yeah.
Okay, Carl. Well, thank you for calling in, and we will definitely do this again.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for allowing me an opportunity to experience this stuff. And Rose, thank you for the hospitality. You don't know how big of a blessing you were to me and Cindy over the last couple of weeks. And Connie, thank you guys. It was a blessing for Carl, and I want you to know I appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate everything you do for the team. It's something we do for families. So
We were told you were supposed to share that cake with us too.
yeah, that didn't last.
You cannot refer to me as crazy cousin Carl, okay? No, there's the line there.
No, it's always gonna be Captain Carl now.
Captain Carl.
Okay, guys. Hey,
All right.
have a great week. Be safe. Look forward to you guys coming out again.
All right.
All
Thank you.
right, take it easy,
Thank you.
Carl.
Captain Carl.
Will do. Bye now.
Bye.
buddy.
Bye.
Once again, that was Carl Steinmetz, who is affiliated with the Dodge City Santa Fe Depot and the theater company out there. We met Carl back, I think, in 2011 when he first started going out there, and he shared a bunch of stories with us. Well, somewhat. He just told some of the stories he told a little bit, but
Right.
not in as much detail. I think he was testing us, and we were as much as we were testing, the building. And obviously, we changed his mind a little bit over the years. He's became a believer, and him and Cindy are great, friends of ours now. They become more than just friends; they're family. So it's good to have him call in. That was fun. So I don't know if we still have time. Is Travis still want to call in? He said he was going to call in
Oh, yeah.
at one point. Switching gears just a little bit.
Yeah,
Actually, a
Trav,
lot.
if you're still there, give us a call real quick. We'll talk about your experience.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd really like to hear that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So viewers at home, once again, as you can see, Carl called in. Don't be shy. Feel free to call in anytime.
Yep.
We love having guests in studio. We also love hearing your stories or your questions over the airways. Call in at 316-200-9066, and we'll take your call live on air and discuss whatever you want. So
Yeah, even if you want to debate something and you don't necessarily think it's real or any, I mean, we're not going to lash out. We're
Debate like an
Gonna,
argument.
yeah, let's have some fun with it.
I like debating.
like Bigfoot, you mean? Is this real or not?
No, it's real, man.
No, you can't
Have
get
you
on
seen
board
all
now.
the stuff on the internet?
You can't get on board now. What stuff on the internet, Rose? Come on. Hey,
Are you kidding me?
Let's have it.
Couldn't
Feel
believe-
free to hit him
I
anytime.
couldn't
you
believe
want.
how much I've missed out on this.
Now, hey, you seen the picture I sent you the other night?
Yeah.
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 That's actual posters placed in Illinois state
Illinois.
parks. So
Sasquatch warning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Interesting.
local recent sightings and everything, they're posting those up.
That's
do
awesome.
not
Where
have
at?
Sasquatch.
Illinois.
Illinois.
Really?
Yeah. I've been seeing a few of those. A few of the states are actually posting those up.
Yeah. It's,
They have one on the Pikes Peak Toll Highway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Colorado for sure.
Well, this is just like a sheet of paper that has like the the Bigfoot
Really?
symbol, but like warning to like recent sightings and stuff in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of state parks are starting to put those up because people
Well, you
are
never
actually
know.
being. I mean, maybe people are seeing it a little bit more or paying attention a little bit more.
You know how awesome that would be if some of the state parks like that would just start opening up a little bit more than what they do.
Would
Yeah.
you believe it
Right
more
now.
if they did?
I don't know.
Because you don't seem to take my word for it, or
You know.
Brendan's word for it, or anything like that. I'm just saying, you gotta have the state
I've
park
told
say
you guys
it's
ever
real.
since
You gotta say the state
Tahlequah,
park
I
does
have a
that.
different outlook on it.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my goodness. So once again, people at home, if you want to do what they're doing, feel free to call in. We love having you guys. Like I said, we love having guests, love people to talk about anything. Doesn't have to be paranormal or Bigfoot. It could be anything pretty much. We'll
As long as
We'll
it's not
discuss.
politics, we're good to go.
Speaking of politics,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm just joking around. No, like I said, we had a great time this past week in Dodge and Oberlin,
And
for that
Oberlin,
matter.
yes.
It's just we've been busy. We got a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
go over, evidence-wise, review-wise, and stuff like that, and then get the reveals done out for the clients because everybody's anxious. I don't know how many questions we filled this weekend. Are you going to post this somewhere?
Yeah.
And when? And so we finally had to and we put it honestly and truthfully. It takes. Jason explained how many cameras we run, how
Nope.
much.
Yep.
Well, we gotta
You
guess.
got a call.
Go ahead.
Welcome to the Cryptic Heartland podcast. This is Jeremiah and the crew. Who are we talking with?
This is Travis.
Hey, Trav.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Thanks
Good
for calling
deal.
in, Travis.
Yeah, I'm sorry I came in so late. I talked to Dan about something kind of strange that had happened to me and one of my buddies here recently, and I saw you guys were on. I thought I'd poke him and see if he wanted to talk about it, and then he said go ahead and call in. So I thought, sure, why not?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Tell about it.
Okay, well, this kind of started with a friend of mine, and I'm not sure if he wants to talk about it, but I'll talk about my end of it. So what had happened was I've always been into ghost, cryptid, paranormal, just in general, and I've always been kind of hands off. I love to listen to people like you guys, appreciate what you're doing, by the way, and think it's real cool, and I'm proud of the hometown team, so thanks for
Thank you.
Thank you.
so that I got something to listen to while I'm mowing my lawn. But anyway, I woke up one morning, I looked on my Facebook, and a buddy of mine had posted saying that he saw something strange. So me and him were actually in a wedding together not too long after that. We sat there and we finally got to where me and him were hanging out, and I said, okay, man, what happened? And he said, well, we both live here in Hutch, and he works over near Lyon, and he said he works the night shift, and he was saying, well, I was driving home at the end of my shift, and I said, I think I saw a monster, man. And I go, well, monster, what do you mean? So he tried to describe it to me, but he said it really seemed like kind of someone bent down, almost like they were crawling on their they were doing a bear crawl or something.
Right.
Said, but couldn't really tell if it was furry or if it was, if it had skin, He said, and then I kept trying to talk to him and, ask questions, see if I could get him to remember something. And, he kept saying, well, the legs were wrong and it moved wrong. And I was trying to, and he only articulated it so much to me. So we talked about it. We had a good time. I was like, well, that's real interesting. But another thing he said is that, it looked at his car as he was coming up on this. This happened while he was driving. And he said it was looked in and it saw me. And he was real adamant about it, looking in and seeing him. So, we had a good talk, and, I kept checking in with him, because once again, it was interesting to me. And after a while, I kind of put it on the back burner. I didn't think much about it. So anyway, about 2 weeks ago, I was over in Wichita. There's a guy, and we were at the casino for the fight, and a couple of the guys I train with at the jiu-jitsu gym said they needed a ride home. And I was like, all right, that's cool. So I drove us back into town. We stayed at the casino. We had a good time, and it was getting late. Well, when we got back into town, one of the guys said, well, I don't actually live here in Hutch. I live over by Inman. I'm like, you gotta be kidding. By now, it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm not in the mood to be driving out to Inman to be coming back to Hutch.
I don't blame you.
Been waiting for me all night. So, anyway, he's in my car. I'm not going to leave him. So, we take Plum, and we head out. And when he said he lived out near Inman, he means he was like in the country, slightly past. So he's telling me take a left, take a right. I'm trying to get directions. This is getting drug out. I'm ready to strangle him. I'm starting to get nervous because I only know this guy so well. Finally, he gets out of the truck, and I am just in a huge state of relief. Well, I'm trying to make my way back to the highway, and I'm like, so I put directions back to my house, and I'm following my phone, and as I'm going up, I'm coming up a hill. Right as I crest this hill, my headlights come down, and I see this thing in the road, and I don't know if it's the same thing my buddy saw, but I started up, like, immediately when I saw it, my blood kind of ran cold. And to describe what I saw, I couldn't really tell you what it looked like as far as, was it fuzzy, was it, but the color I saw reminded me, like, if you saw a goth kid that played way too much Warcraft and then got sick. It's a real sickly looking pale color. And, like, it, as I'm looking at it, and I really only got I'm talking like maybe a minute and a half window. It looked like a guy had, like, bent down to do a push-up and then cocked his arms out like he was going to, like, do like a wide set push-up. But the thing that caught my attention was if you followed, like, the length of his body down, where your legs would meet your body, instead of having, like, regular human legs that would, be splayed out like Spider-Man, it looked like this thing had, like, the reverse jointed legs like a dog.
Oh, wow.
But not only that, okay, so I want you to imagine, like, and once again, I talk cryptid a little bit, so how people talk about, like, Dogman being down
Right.
on all fours.
Right.
I don't want you to think about, like, something that stands down on all fours. I want you to imagine that the body dropped lower and then, like, that backwards kneecap rotated up to where it was setting about as high as the thing's head. The torso was hanging lower than, like, what would be the thigh muscle of the leg. And I'm sitting there, my blood runs cold for about half a minute as I'm coming down this hill, and and in that same minute, this thing jumps. And when it jumps, it, like, plows through this tree row, like, at a straight, like, diagonal angle. Like, if it was 45 degrees, it was 80, and it just mashes through this tree row. But the thing that stuck with me is when this thing, like, moved up and its legs, like, unfurled, it looked like its legs could have been the length of, like, my 12-year-old who's, like, close to 4 foot,
Wow.
So, and, like, it bounced through these trees. Now, at this point, it's 3:40 in the morning. I'm sitting there going, okay, I didn't drink anything. I didn't do anything I shouldn't have. I'm just, I'm sitting there, am I tired? Well, as I'm rolling up, I noticed that where this thing had moved through the trees was shaking.
Was what?
And it was like, like if you just saw something like tear through the brush ahead of you, how all the branches are moving. It was
Right.
like something was really like moving and shifting around, like the trees hadn't settled back down. Now, I did that because they were moving as I was rolling up, because I didn't slow down to like look over or investigate. I cheesed it. I was out of there. I was ready to find the highway. Like,
Wow.
I hit the highway and I beelined it back to Hutch at a speed I should probably be ashamed of. But
So
that's my story. And since then, I've kind of been talking to my friends. I haven't really found anything that like I've seen like on the internet or heard people describe that really sinks the description on my head. So, but
what
I'm
it,
open.
listening to your description, what it sounds like to me, it sounds like something doing almost like a spider crawl.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it looked like a crawl. It looked like it would have had to crawl until it made that leap. And then I was like, wow, that was, that was like the biggest, like, vertical jump movement I'd ever seen anything make.
Huh.
So,
Do you know the location?
no.
No.
It's going to be, like,
Right.
I could tell you, like, I went out from Plum, out here in Hutch, out back towards Inman. I hit like the road that's vertical from Inman, and this road, that road, turn here, and I plugged my address. I'm super dyslexic, so I don't really remember names and streets all that well. I just kind of go where my phone takes me.
Right.
So,
Okay. Well, that's definitely
I
interesting.
have no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I've never heard of anything like that. Not in Kansas, anyway.
Right.
yeah.
Very
Like,
interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't really have a theory or an explanation. It was just like, it was one thing like when my buddy like saw it, and then I'm like, okay, now I saw it, and I studied like psychology, so I sat there and like I immediately started questioning myself. I was like, okay, I was out late. My buddy did tell me about this, but Dan brought up an interesting point too, like that. We got that local, I guess it's like a local legend or something of like Baby Boy Blues out here. I was out past further than that's supposed to be, but it's still like in that direction. So, and he said, I was talking to him about it. He was talking to me about a couple of you guys' videos where you with motion like that. I've been meaning to go back and check them out, but Dan will vouch for him. We've been pretty busy at work, so
Yeah. It's crazy.
yeah. So, but
Yeah, I mean, I can almost picture the entity up in the Anthony Rafters, the way it moved with its legs.
At the project house. Yep.
Could you describe
Yeah,
the face or the head or anything like that?
Any facial
Like-
features?
like and really, and guys, like I said, this is a minute and a half of my life that I've been trying to play back in slow motion, and it like really like the upper body really did like look humanoid towards me, and like I said, the way it moved really kind of was what took prominence on me. When my buddy talked about it, he talked about like there maybe being a muzzle and more of like a humanoid head, but I didn't get that to like say, and I'm worried that I'm messing up his description of it, if we're talking about the same thing,
Right.
So, but
Man.
once again, that's what I saw. I'm open to questions. It's been something fun for me to kind of puzzle over, but I don't, and I wish I had more for you guys, but I was, I've been sitting here just trying to think what else can I add to it so that you guys, but if you guys got anything, try to answer the best I can. So
No, my brain's just like going all over the place with
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Trying to process this and
I mean, that's
Because you
you
said.
hear. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, you hear things, different aspects of the story. I mean, it's kind of like Tahlequah. The first time Brandon and I went to Tahlequah, you hear different aspects of the story, and you think, well, on one point you think, okay, this is, some sort of weird haunting, and some other points you think, okay, cryptid. Other points you think, I mean, possibly even some sort of alien encounter or something. I mean, you've heard stories about aliens that walk and crawl themselves oddly,
And you got the Native Americans who have the shapeshifters.
Yes, the
Skinwalkers.
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 I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
And,
That's
and you said the arms were out. He was bent over, arms out like he was doing a wide push-up, or going to be.
Yeah.
And then legs were turned.
Articulated like
Yeah.
a grasshopper,
Right.
maybe.
Yeah, that would a grasshopper. That would be the best way for me. I don't know why
wow.
I didn't that, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. Where its body's just hanging lower than like the knee, the joint of its leg. Yeah, I got. Like I said, I listen to tons of the stuff. I love to holler at Dan at work, but I've got I haven't heard a story about anything like this. I haven't really seen anything.
Makes me want to go back and drive that area.
same.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
drive the vicinity.
Try to recreate the
Because if
I'll
they,
be
time and
Like maybe in the day, but like and Dan once again will vouch for me on this. I'm pretty big about not poking the bear. Like,
Yeah.
I have two beautiful kids that I love more than life itself, and I'm real big on like I'm gonna be there for them, and I'm not gonna bring any attention to my household. But like I might try to do it during the day, but I'm not super keen on it either. Now,
Right.
Buddy, he drives that route where he saw his all the time. Like, so
It'd be
you know,
interesting to find somebody that knows some people out there in that area if
Right.
they've seen anything.
I think I'm going to go for some drives.
Right.
yeah.
Hey Travis, this is Leo. I was going to ask you a question. Just playing devil's advocate on this. I'm not saying this is how I feel or believe or anything or question your story, but based upon some of the facts in the case or your experience, time of night, you've been out, late. I mean, we all get tired and stuff. Based upon the area itself, any chance it could have been any kind of animal, such as maybe a coyote or a big cat, or just that because your eyes are tired, you do a double take, and you said it had some kind of like appendages that kind of were dog-like in feature.
And I definitely would rather you play devil's advocate. It would make me feel a lot better. Like I hunt,
Sure.
so I'm used to low light. I don't hunt at night, but I'm used to seeing stuff around in low light. I also like when I'm driving. What I do is I always have a gob full of sunflower seeds because I don't really get tired if I've got that to work on. And that's something I've used for years, and it's always helped me. I would never, I would never with 100% certainty say there's no way it could be anything. But I know it's way bigger than a coyote. I know that, based on the coloring, I just, and granted, it's my right headlights hit that coloring could have been off. I really did try to tear apart my own story. But just how, the thing I always come back to, okay, is just, while I did see, a head is clear, is just how strangely articulated those legs were. And
Right.
that's the sticking point. It's like, and the other thing is, I just can't. I can't picture what would have moved to get up through this tree row where it would have. Because I think everything else would have tried. There was a fence and there was a tree row. I think everything else would have tried to just, like, go under the fence. You know, a deer does that really clear, you know, like, bound motion.
Right.
This was, it just fired off the ground and kept going. You know,
Wow.
like if you saw a ping pong ball skip off something and then go straight back up. And so, like I said, would I, you know, I would, I appreciate it being a devil's advocate, but like, I didn't recognize it. You know, it seems so foreign compared to everything. I've lived in Kansas my whole life. I've interacted, you know, my dad had hunting when I was a little kid. You know, could I have been tired? Absolutely. That's always a possibility. You know, it would be a possibility for, you know, like people that go out on lawns and stuff like that. You know, it's hard to do that stuff. But, you know, it's one of those things that I was really sober after it happened. I can tell you that. I was 100% awake.
Right. And I'm not refuting your story. I was just trying to figure out, like, when we do stuff, I think of logical explanations, but then I also say, well, what if it's the other thing? You know, there's always that option too. So I'm curious. I'm just as curious as you guys. Well, maybe you not so much, but like Jason and everybody here in the studio, we're probably all like, let's go tonight and go check it out right away.
Right. Right.
Well,
Try to recreate that.
What's crazy is the fact that I have a friend that it was probably at least 5-6 years ago. She was driving. She lives out in Newton.
Mm-hmm.
She was late at night heading back home, country road, and she texted me the next day and said, "I think I saw a creature." And I never thought much more about it. I figured it was just a big cat, but she said it was. She doesn't remember a tail, but it leaped across the highway within like 2 leaps, and it was huge, and it had like almost like a snout to it, but
Wow.
it weird legs and body. She did mention it,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I never heard from her again about it, so I just didn't do anything with it.
Kind of dropped it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
But you know, I don't know.
No, we're definitely fascinated by your encounter. We definitely want to go check it out now and see
Yeah.
where this location is, you
Yeah.
know, and maybe see what we can figure out what it maybe could possibly even be. 'Cause
Right.
we were pulling up some stuff in the studio in here, and it resembles things that we talked about, like Dan mentioned, skinwalkers and things of that nature, or shapeshifters, and it's curious. I mean, we are on Indian ground over here, so
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
what if or why couldn't it be? You know, possibly, or maybe something out of this world, aliens. You never know. So
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, guys, like I said, I'm open for any questions. If you have anything else, I can definitely talk to Dan.
Absolutely.
Don't, like, me being straight with you, I don't think I could get you much past like Plum going up to Inman,
Mhm.
because it was all the guys' directions after that, and then it was all just kind
Yeah.
of GPS.
No, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like I said, I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate, you know, all the facts you're bringing to everybody. I appreciate you representing us. Is there anything else you got for me? I know I probably ate up way too much of your time.
No, you're fine.
No, you're
That's good.
fine.
We'll definitely be in contact with you. We'll have Dan
Abs-
get
Yeah.
hold of you, and we'll definitely sit down and have maybe a face-to-face kind of interview and see if we can recreate some things and
Yeah,
present
absolutely.
some evidence to you that might help figure out what
Yeah.
you saw.
I sketch a little. I think I'd be able to give you much more than like an outline.
Uh-huh.
I can put pen to paper sometime and maybe see if I can think
Hey.
with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you listening to me. I hope maybe it creates some more conversation.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I think you have.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trav.
All right.
Wow.
Well, that was Travis. His name Travis, right?
Travis Hayes.
I don't know what's his last name, but that's fine. That called in with his story that something he encountered out in the back roads of Kansas, and then now that
Right.
we'll pique some of our interest, and I know we're probably going to try to follow up on that and maybe figure out what it was or what it is. So.
Got another call.
Oh, okay. Go a little longer tonight. That's
Hopefully
fine.
somebody from Inman.
Or a pizza place. Okay. You want the lottery?
Welcome to the Cryptic Heartland podcast. Who are we speaking with?
Oh, this is Captain Carl calling back to give Leo some information.
Oh,
wow.
Uh-oh. Drum roll. What you got for us, sir?
Yeah. Last night, Leo picked up on a doctor bag, and I talked about it earlier.
Right.
I contacted the person who procured that, and visiting with Barbara, a number of things came up. First thing is that doctor's bag came out of a antique store in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
Okay. But while we were talking about it, I mentioned something about a traveling doctor, and Barbara relayed that in the Dodge paper back in the day, there was a traveling eye doctor that set up an office in the Harvey Hotel and invited patients to come see him at the Harvey Hotel.
Okay.
And last night, one of the groups picked up on a traveling doctor that was wandering the building.
Right.
Interesting.
So
Wow.
Barbara is in the process of pulling up the copies of the Dodge paper to try and recover his name. But she distinctly remembers 2 different ads advertising that he was in the Harvey Hotel providing eye services.
Wow.
And you remember, Carl, you and I saw, I pointed it out, like these glasses on the table not too far from that doctor's bag. I mean, put 2 and 2 together.
She also said that that she got those, and she's struggling to remember exactly where she got those eyeglasses.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to her, along with copies of the Dodge paper with this guy's name in it,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna try and have those and get them to you,
Perfect.
so that
Awesome.
it'll be interesting to see whether some of the initials or the name that came across last night matches any of this information. And I just got off the phone with her, and we're both kind of going, "Wow!" That, so
That is awesome.
That's why
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to call back and say, "Hey, this is a possibility." Just filling in some of the blanks if we can.
No, that's
Absolutely.
great.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, you got my number. Give me a buzz once you find anything out. I'm down, sitting on the edge of my seat, waiting for the big reveal. I thought you had the name and everything for me. I was like, here we go,
Sorry.
moment of truth.
Well,
Soon enough.
that,
though.
that's the next fun side of it is instead of making guesses,
Mhm.
oh, wait a minute, hey, look at this, there's an awful big parallel, so when I get new information, guys, believe me, you'll get a call from the old captain.
Awesome, man. We appreciate it, Carl.
All right, guys, once again, have a fantastic week, and look forward to y'all coming back to Dodge City.
Yep.
You too, Cap. We'll see
Can't
you
wait.
soon.
Can't wait.
Okay, buddy.
All
You
right.
guys take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
So, to be continued, apparently, it sounds like, which now I'm like, oh, man. I'm excited. Another piece of the puzzle, so. Very cool, guys. Well, man, this is a quick, fun show. I can't believe it's already over.
I know, right?
Yep. So we will be wrapping up here shortly. But once again, thanks to everybody out in Dodge City and Oberlin over the past 2 weeks. We've had some great investigations, sold out, numerous nights, and we couldn't have done it without the team and the buildings themselves, plus the public, for watching the show or getting the word of mouth out there that we're doing these public investigations and private, of course.
Mhm.
But thank you guys for helping us to be more successful, and hopefully we put out a good product for you guys. That's why we do this. We love this. We're passionate about what we do, whether it be the podcast, the subject matter, or outside, with the actual investigative side of things too. So thank you guys out there in viewership land. Anything else?
I
Wrap
think
up
that's
with?
it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm just
Very cool.
got my interest peaks
I
here
know.
with all this.
Yeah, I was gonna look too, but I was gonna wait till after.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm not saying you. It might be my own personal research. So
Yeah, but
So-
I'm ready for bed. That's for sure.
I am too. So.
Yeah.
Well, once again, this was the Cryptic Heartland Podcast, episode 53. We'll be back next week, right? I don't
Next
think there's
weekend.
one on, as far as I know.
Yeah.
For 54, and what? You won't? That you said?
You won't be here?
What'd you say?
No, I never said anything.
Oh, I think you said something. Sorry.
No, just still doing some research on
Oh, yeah,
everything that
yep.
it's intriguing.
Yep. So people
All
at
right.
home, stay tuned for we'll have the answer one of these days. So, all right,
Yep.
guys.
See you next weekend.
Yep.
All right.
Everybody.
Take care.
I guess I should have had the outro cued. All right, now we'll really see you next week. Talk to you later.